For over 40 years, the Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps Navy, the IRGCN, operated under a single, unshakable strategic doctrine: control the choke point, control the world, the Strait of Hormuz. A narrow 21-mile ribbon of water through which 20% of the global oil supply flows daily. Iran did not build a traditional blue water navy to project power across oceans. Instead, they built a highly specialized asymmetric green water force designed for one specific scenario: to make the cost of American intervention in the Persian Gulf too high for any U.S. president to bear. But on February 28, 2026, that 40-year assumption was put to the test. Following a series of escalating flashpoints, the United States and Israel launched Operation Epic Fury, a massive preemptive campaign that began with the sudden tactical elimination of Iran's supreme leader, Ali Khamenei. In immediate retaliation, Tehran pulled its ultimate lever. The IRGC declared the Strait of Hormuz closed. They laid mines, seized commercial assets, and deployed swarm boats. Within days, 10 million barrels of oil per day vanished from global markets. Crude oil surged past $120 a barrel, marking the largest energy supply disruption in recorded history. Iran believed they held the global economy hostage. What they didn't realize was that the United States Navy was about to debut a completely new operational architecture. An architecture that Admiral Brad Cooper, commander of U.S. Central Command, understatedly referred to as simply an umbrella. To understand how Iran's defensive architecture collapsed so rapidly, we have to look at the opening moves of the air campaign weeks before the main fleet even approached the Narrows. Iran's coastal defense relied heavily on Russian-supplied S-300 surface-to-air missile batteries positioned along the rugged terrain of the Iranian coast. These systems were designed to track and destroy conventional non-stealth aircraft at long ranges. The IRGCN assumed these batteries would force American strike fighters into predictable, low-altitude vectors, bringing them within range of shorter-range tactical air defenses. They were wrong. Enter the F-35C. Lightning II. Operating from the deck of the USS Abraham Lincoln. The F-35C does not just fly undetected, it acts as an airborne quarterback. Utilizing its highly advanced sensor fusion capabilities, the fifth-generation stealth fighter seamlessly integrates radar, infrared, and passive electronic intelligence data into a single cohesive tactical picture. During the initial phases of Operation Epic Fury, these stealth assets slipped past the S-300 networks without triggering a single engagement radar. The F-35Cs did not broadcast active radar signals. Instead, they passively mapped the exact electromagnetic signatures of Iran's coastal surveillance infrastructure. Once the targeting solutions were locked, the F-35Cs executed precision strikes with standoff munitions, systematically blinding the IRGC's coastal eyes before the operators on the ground even knew an aircraft was in their airspace. The highly praised S-300 network wasn't just bypassed, it was rendered completely irrelevant. Blinding the radar was only the first step. To completely dismantle the IRGCN's swarm doctrine, the U.S. Navy deployed its premier electronic attack platform, the EA-18G Growler. During Project Freedom, the maritime operation launched to force open the blocked shipping lanes. Growlers, from Electronic Attack Squadron 133 flew high-intensity suppression missions over the Narrows. Their loadout was uniquely devastating. A single ALQ-99 tactical jamming pod combined with 4 AGM-88 HARM anti-radiation missiles. The Growler's mission was simple: deny the enemy electromagnetic spectrum access. By emitting high-powered targeted jamming, the Growlers completely severed the communication links between the IRGC's shore-based command centers and their fast attack craft at sea. In naval warfare, a swarm boat doctrine is entirely dependent on real-time coordination. Dozens of small boats must communicate flawlessly to attack a single target from multiple vectors simultaneously. The Growlers took that capability away. Deprived of data links, the Iranian swarm boats were instantly transformed from a coordinated threat into isolated blind targets. And that is when the hammer fell. With the electronic environment completely dominated, U.S. Central Command unleashed AH-64 Apache attack helicopters and MH-60 Seahawk naval variants. Operating under the safety of the electronic warfare umbrella, these low-flying platforms systematically hunted down the stranded fast attack craft. In one engagement's briefing, Admiral Cooper casually noted that 6 Iranian fast boats attempting to approach a protected commercial convoy were detected, targeted, and neutralized within minutes. He described the execution as clinical. The destruction of the swarm boats was merely a prelude to a much larger historic shift in naval combat. For over 8 decades since the final days of World War II in 1945, the United States Navy had not sunk an adversary warship in direct high-intensity combat. That streak ended on the morning of March 4, 2026. The Iris Dana, a modern Iranian Navy frigate commissioned in 2021, was transiting back toward regional waters after participating in multinational exercises. Armed with anti-ship cruise missiles, the vessel posed a significant threat to the outer ring of the American carrier strike groups deployed in the Arabian Sea. She never made it to the Gulf. A U.S. Navy nuclear-powered attack submarine, tracking the frigate silently from the depths, received authorization to engage. A single heavyweight torpedo was launched. The impact was catastrophic, breaking the back of the Iris Dana and sending her to the bottom of the ocean off the coast of Sri Lanka. This single engagement shattered the long-held geopolitical assumption that the U.S. Navy would hesitate to escalate to outright ship-sinking combat. The kinetic onslaught only intensified from there. Within the first 24 hours of the expanded campaign, American heavy bombers and regional strike assets struck over 1,000 targets across Iran. By mid-March, U.S. Central Command confirmed that all 4 highly advanced Shahid Soleimani-class corvettes, the pride of the IRGC's surface fleet, had been systematically neutralized. Furthermore, the Iris Shahid Bagheri, a massive container ship heavily modified by Iran to act as a forward-deployed sea base and long-range drone carrier, was struck and disabled within the opening hours of the operation, neutralizing Iran's ability to project long-range aerial threats across the wider Arabian Sea. By July of 2026, the conventional phase of the conflict drew to a close with the signing of a diplomatic memorandum of understanding in Versailles. Yet a closer military analysis reveals that while America won a stunning tactical victory, the strategic threat of the strait remains unresolved. Despite the near-total annihilation of its surface fleet, intelligence reports indicate that the IRGC retained approximately 50% of its pre-war military infrastructure. Crucially, their massive arsenal of mobile shore-based anti-ship cruise missile launchers remains largely intact, securely hidden deep within hardened underground networks. These facilities, commonly referred to as Iran's missile cities, consist of vast interconnected tunnel systems carved anywhere from 400 to 1,500 feet deep into the solid granite bedrock of the Zagros and Alborz mountain ranges. These depths render them entirely immune to standard American precision-guided bunker busters. Furthermore, the highly controversial nuclear file remains a deeply unsettling point of friction. Classified intelligence assessments conducted after the conclusion of the air campaign revealed that targeted strikes against known nuclear sites only delayed Iran's enrichment timeline by less than 6 months. Today, Tehran holds an estimated 440 kilograms of uranium enriched to 60% purity, requiring only a matter of weeks to refine to weapons-grade 90% threshold if the political decision is made. Then there is the enduring problem of naval mines. While the U.S. Navy successfully forced open a widened transit route near Oman, clearing the central shipping lanes of the strait remains an operational nightmare. The Pentagon has privately advised Congress that comprehensive demining operations could take up to 6 months to complete. Making matters worse, chaotic command structures during the height of the conflict led to the IRGCN losing track of several of their own unanchored drifting mines. As the region transitions into an uneasy, volatile ceasefire, both sides are rapidly adapting to a new tech-driven paradigm. The conflict saw the historic first-ever deployment of the U.S. military's new Lucas drone system, a low-cost, unmanned combat aircraft engineered specifically to counter Iran's prolific one-way attack drone strategy. Operated by Task Force Scorpion Strike, these expendable assets allowed the U.S. to strike radar installations and coastal missile sites without risking high-value crewed platforms, effectively flipping the economic cost ratio back in Washington's favor. Concurrently, fleets of small, autonomous, unmanned surface vessels patrolled the waters of the Gulf, logging thousands of underway hours to map drifting mines and detect unauthorized small boat movements in real time. Yet, despite their heavy hardware losses and the death of high-ranking commanders, including IRGC Navy Chief Ali Reza Tangsiri, Tehran shows no signs of geopolitical surrender. In a bold legislative move, the Iranian parliament formally codified new administrative controls over the strait, expanding their declared operational zone far beyond the traditional narrows out to Siri Island. The structural reality of July 2026 is clear. The United States Navy successfully demonstrated that it possesses the overwhelming technological superiority required to open any waterway by force, shattering a 40-year Iranian deterrent strategy in a matter of days. But as history has repeatedly shown, tactical dominance does not automatically translate into permanent political victory. The IRGC no longer seeks to defeat American carrier groups in open combat. Instead, they rely on the enduring low-cost leverage of missing mines, hardened underground missile factories, and a rapidly spinning array of nuclear centrifuges buried deep beneath the granite of the Zagros Mountains. The American umbrella successfully stopped the storm, but the clouds over the Strait of Hormuz have far from cleared. Thank you for watching this deep dive. If you found this tactical breakdown valuable, please hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, and leave your thoughts on the future of naval asymmetric warfare in the comments below. See you next time.